Hey everybody, and welcome to The Void, a show dedicated to filling the void between being an employee and becoming self-employed. Most people refer to starting your own company as taking the leap, as if they're blindly jumping off a cliff and into the unknown. This show is here to help you understand that it doesn't have to be that way. As always, if you like what you're hearing on the show, please do us a favor and help share The Void with someone else who might also be wanting to start their own company. We saw an opportunity to help others understand that self-employment is well within your reach. And just as our businesses have grown organically and by word of mouth, we want this show to grow the same way. So if you see somebody asking questions about starting their own service-based company, please do us a favor and drop a link to the show. I'm your host, Mitch Smedley, and with me, as always, is David Hilton.
Mitchell.
David.
Why do people care that the Queen of England is dead? Why? I can't figure it out.
You know, I don't know either.
It drives me insane. It's like all over the news.
Yeah.
First off, this is not England anymore.
Yeah. So
okay.
I had a customer this week ask me if we were they were surprised we were not observing the 10 days of whatever. What's it called?
The 10 days of mourning?
Yeah,
mourning,
not closing for 10 days.
Yeah, and they said, I'm surprised I was able to get a plumber to my home before the coronation. And I told him, I said, we haven't had to concern ourselves with that since 1776. So,
how old were these people?
This guy was probably in his 70s.
Okay.
So,
I mean, he gets a little bit of a break.
I mean, maybe.
But not really.
So
Vietnam age. He's Vietnam age.
Yeah.
He could have been a veteran in Vietnam in his 70s.
He's still 200 years removed from...
I just don't get it, man. I don't understand. I mean, yeah. Okay, a public figure died. Okay, yeah, got it. All right, nice. I don't care. Why do I care?
I mean, now I will say it's kind of interesting to see the tradition and see the, all of that stuff.
They don't rule England anymore.
No, I know.
It's just for looks.
Yeah, but it's, I don't know. Part of it, I say it's interesting as if made up TV is interesting. It's
okay.
You know what I mean?
I'm trying
to see the pomp and the circumstance and the organization and the ceremony. Okay, I kind of get that.
When I see that stuff, I think, man, look at how much money they're fucking wasting on this stupid crap.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
And it's all tax free. They're their own little governed thing.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
I don't get it either.
All right, that bitch has wasted enough of my time. On with the show, Mitch.
And enough about the Queen.
Enough.
Question for you, Dave.
Ask me a question. What do you got?
Do you think we're entitled to success?
Do you think are you saying people in general?
Well, yeah, we as in the general
society?
The general population of us.
We as in society.
Yeah.
Ask me the question again. My mind's clear.
Do you think we are entitled to success?
No. Not one bit.
Not one bit?
Not one bit. Is that what the answer you were looking for?
No, I want your answer.
Okay, no, that's my answer.
Yeah?
That's my answer. No, I don't think so at all.
Who do you think deserves success?
People that work for success. People that work hard. Or people that have, even though I would say if someone hasn't worked hard but they've made a huge sacrifice, I would say they are deserving of success.
Yeah.
Those would be my two. I mean, that's it. Yeah, if you want to be successful and you want to be, I can't believe I'm going to say this, someone special, quote unquote, someone that people look up to, you have to work for it.
Right.
Okay, even the top athletes, the top tennis players that have the God-given talent still have to work for it.
Right.
I mean, you hear all the time about these players that are just five-tool athletes. They are the best. They are the greatest. They're going to be awesome, and then they don't put in the work, and guess what? They're working at fucking McDonald's like everybody else.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well,
so they didn't deserve
maybe
it.
Not McDonald's, maybe Chick-fil-A.
Or they're a coach at a high school.
Right.
My point is they could have been, an all-time elite great performer, and instead they're just average Joe because they didn't want to put the work in.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right, yeah.
I
so
mean,
the questions...
It seems simple. It's
The question's inspired by a post today from a social media mentor of mine. And his post says, Your success will be directly defined by your ability to endure financial and emotional pain. No one is entitled to success. It's there for all of us to work for. Success is not handed out, it's earned, so go make the most of the hand you are dealt. It won't be easy, it will be painful, it will break your heart, it will push you to your mental limits, it will drain you. It will also be 100% worth it when it's your time. Forget what you've heard and go earn what you deserve.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
That's basically what I just said, right?
Yeah. So we've talked about this on a previous show where...
Well, we've touched on it. We touch on it a lot.
Yeah, where we talk about life is not designed to give you what you want or need. Life is designed to give you what you deserve. And essentially we were talking about these same sentiments.
Yeah.
Success will come to those who deserve it. And just because... So I'll add to what you were saying a little bit. Just because you work hard doesn't mean you deserve it, right? Like if you work hard and work dumb, you don't deserve success. Like you're making poor decisions that are causing you to have to work hard. Therefore, you're working hard because you're not working smart. And so it's going to be difficult to see success.
Well,
right.
I mean, yeah, but I know people that work hard and just make okay decisions. And they don't make the best decisions, but then they overcome that by working even harder.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, that pushes them into, quote unquote, the deserve category.
Yeah.
You know, they've earned their spot to be there.
Yeah. And so you're kind of talking about two areas too. Like,
right.
One is the avoidance of making bad decisions. Like you simply avoid making bad decisions in life, you're going to do pretty well. Right. And then if you have the foresight and the vision.
Especially if you live in this country.
Yeah. And if you have the foresight and the vision to make extraordinarily good decisions, well, now you're in like a whole nother level.
Yeah.
So,
I work really hard, but I've made a lot of bad decisions.
Yeah.
Especially when I was younger.
I kind of lost count.
Like when, very funny. You're a real son of a bitch. Like when I think back, to when I was, 18 to 23. I got married when I was 22. Yeah, 22. So, in that time period, I mean, I made a lot of bad decisions. And what eats me up a lot is I'll think about, oh man, if I'd have done this or if I'd have done that, and then it starts to eat on you a little bit. I could have been here. I could have been there. But then I also, to kind of balance that out, I think of it as, well, I may not be where I am now if I hadn't learned from those mistakes that I had made. I think a lot of that has happened, especially in my life. Like I've looked back and been like, oh, I learned from that, and it made me make this decision instead of this decision. Yeah. And so that kind of catapulted me here, which was on the right path to where I am now. Yeah. I mean, this is a little off topic, but for those that dwell on the mistakes that you've made in the past and think, oh, I just can't overcome them. There's no way for me to get past that stuff. That's just not true. Right. I mean, you have to be, not the slightest. You have to mentally be strong enough to say, okay, I have made those mistakes and I'm not going to let them drag me down. Well, I am going to move forward. Even if they didn't teach you anything, you still have to be able to say, I'm not going to think about that. I'm just going to move forward. And I think a lot of people that I know personally, they let that stuff, it's kind of like PTSD, but not really PTSD. Yeah. It kind of fogs your brain up and holds you back. Yeah. You just have to be able to push past that and move forward. And when I say PTSD, I'm not talking about like veterans. Okay. I just mean, people that have had
past trauma.
Yeah, past trauma, but not like past trauma. I hate when people say, oh, well, PTSD, and then everyone just jumps to, oh, that's a veterans thing. Oh, no, it's
active combat.
Yeah, that's like the peak hardest thing to come back from. I'm talking about.
You can have PTSD from a car accident.
Yeah, I'm talking smaller time stuff, not. To be clear.
So the post, I don't want to skip too far here. The post that I just read, that was posted by a guy named Ryan Stewman. If you're not following the guy on social media, you probably should, because he posts some really, really cool shit. But he's a pretty good living example of it, right? Like he's a twice convicted felon. And he's got the stereotypical past. I think he's been divorced 2 or maybe 3 times. He's got every reason under the sun for why he shouldn't be successful.
Is his alias Monty Hilton?
No, he's not your dad.
Okay, just check it.
But
my dad's not been to prison. Just to make that clear.
So Ryan has been to prison actually, but so he's been he's been through a bunch, and he put himself through a bunch, right, from bad decisions. However, he's used those as inspiration for why he is who he is today and why his mission is what it is today, rather than what a lot of people do is they use it as why they can't do something, right?
Yeah.
I can't do this because I'm a felon. Bullshit. You can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Now, is it going to change the timeline of things? Yeah, probably.
Of course it is.
That doesn't mean you can't go live the best life that you were supposed to live. So, the idea that success is owed to anybody is kind of flawed, right? You've got to put in work every day, and you've got to become comfortable being uncomfortable. I kind of look up to, I've never made this correlation until recently, but I've always watched MMA fighting, and I've had such an admiration for these guys, because here they are in a no-win situation. They're in a hold, or they're being choked, or they're pinned, or maybe they just got struck really hard and they're trying to get their wits about them or whatever. And their perseverance and the ability to still push through and still drive on has just always intrigued me, right? Well, you correlate that there's a lot of very, very successful people out there who practice MMA on a regular basis, and they do it on purpose. They don't do it because they like it or because it seems to be the cool thing to do. They do it because if they can choose to go put themselves in a scenario where somebody's trying to kill them, or could, right? I mean, it's practice, so
yeah.
But if they can choose to go put themselves in a scenario like that, then there's nothing they're going to face throughout the day that's too hard for them to overcome. They literally woke up in the morning and chose violence, and had some guy choking them out, right?
Yeah.
And then they go to work and they got to look at an Excel spreadsheet or deal with a disgruntled employee, and everything's easy after that because they've already done the hard part of their day. So that in itself, that quality or that characteristic has a key to do with a lot of people's success. The things that they do outside of work make it to where the work that they're doing is not the most challenging part of their day. The work is actually easy compared to the other things that they do.
Mitch is not telling you to wake up and say, "Hey, hon, punch me in the face."
No.
Actually,
don't go
what?
MMA with the wife.
You know what? I think so all the men out there, wake up tomorrow and tell your wife to punch you in the face. Yeah, just see how the day goes.
There's probably plenty of videos of that going on.
I think it's pretty funny. I think that'd be a great idea. Yeah. Send your video to us. What's our email?
Yeah.
If your wife punches you in the face and you have it on video, send it to us.
Let's not.
We'll put it on YouTube.
We don't accept videos from viewers. What's the whole?
We're not ridiculous.
Ridiculousness and
jackass. We won't put your stuff on YouTube. We won't do that, but we will watch it. Don't hurt yourselves.
Yeah. So for our listeners out there that are considering starting their own company, or maybe they have started their own company, your company shouldn't be the hardest thing you're doing, right? It should be hard. Don't get me wrong. If you're doing the right things, it should be difficult. You should be pushing yourself often enough and hard enough to where you're constantly running into new problems that you don't know how to solve. But you should be doing other things that challenge you in life, so that your your business is not the one thing that challenges you. Because when you only have the one thing that challenges with you, that's what causes burnout, right? You take a guy with little to no hobbies and you go stick him in a 9-to-5 job where he's micromanaged. That's the only area where he's challenged, and he gets burned out real quick.
9-to-5 micromanaged job. That's how people get stabbed. I mean, that guy's that guy's going off the deep end.
Yeah, I'm not saying
what's happening.
Yeah,
people are losing their shit in those positions.
He might go into the office and
that's
pop
what I'm
a
saying.
few, but
I think that's a lot of that is what's wrong with our society now is people feel like they're so pushed down that they really just are to the point where they're like, I don't know what else to do.
Right.
Like they just lose it.
Yeah. So I've heard this from several of my social media mentors. I'm not sure exactly which one gets the credit for it. If I had to pick one, it's probably like Ed Milet or Andy Frisella. I'm not sure. But there's enough of them that ring this same message, and that is self-confidence comes from the promises that you keep to yourself. So your self-confidence comes from promises that you've made to yourself and then promises you've kept. In other words, what I mean by that
I don't know if I buy it. Let's hear what you got to say.
So, like, let's say you get beat up at school. Let's say you're a school kid and you get beat up in school. And so you make a promise to yourself that I'm going to go start taking karate. Or I'm going to go start doing something so that I learn a few moves or whatever to keep from getting my ass kicked in school, right? If you stick with karate and you stick with that promise you made for yourself, you will have self-confidence. Okay? Now, if you go to karate for 4 or 5 classes or just a couple of weeks or whatever, and then you give up, you will not have self-confidence.
Well, if the guy comes at you and it was enough to kick his ass,
maybe.
Okay.
Maybe, right?
I don't know if I buy
I don't know if you're
that.
going to learn enough in a couple of weeks, right? So self-confidence also, like other realistic avenues where that stuff happens, right? Self-confidence comes from, like, let's say you're overweight. You could make a promise to yourself that I'm going to lose weight, right? But if you do like most people do, and you make that promise to yourself,
you only make it a month,
and then you go way too hard, way too fast, and you radically change your diet, and you radically change your exercise routine, and you radically change your schedule, and it was too much all at once, and you overdo it. So then you throw in the towel and you say, I can't do any of it because you were trying to do all of it. Well, then you give up, right? And so now where's your self-confidence? You didn't like yourself a month ago, and now you just gave up like less than a month later. Your self-confidence is even worse, right? So
that would be more like bad self-confidence comes from not keeping promises that you've made to yourself.
Correct. Right. So if the same token if that's true, if low self-confidence comes from not keeping promises to yourself, well then self-confidence comes from keeping promises to yourself. Right? So if you make the promise to yourself that I'm going to run a mile every day for a month, I'm not going to skip a day, weather will not stop me, I will find a way to get it done, I will run a mile every day for a month. Okay, a mile's not very long, right? We're talking like even if you're obese, we're talking 20 minutes.
Yeah.
For you to go a mile. Okay?
Well, I think it takes 20 minutes to walk a mile.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like even if you're obese,
I think it takes 20 minutes.
You can travel on your own legs for a mile in 20 minutes. So if you made the commitment to yourself that I am moving a mile on my own 2 legs every day for a month, and you did that, you will feel much better about yourself at the end of the month. And this isn't a fitness thing. Okay? The same thing could apply for anything. If you made the promise to yourself, I'm going to read for 20 minutes a day for a month, and you made that promise to yourself, like I don't want it to come off as a fitness thing, right?
That's just me. If I say I'm going to read 20 minutes a month, that means I'm just getting an extra nap.
Well, maybe.
Like 2 minutes in,
yeah,
I'm asleep.
Yeah. So the promise does not have to be fitness related, I guess is what I'm getting at. It's making promises to yourself, setting standards for yourself. This is the standard. And then your self-confidence comes from your ability to hold yourself to your standard that you set for yourself. That's literally where self-confidence comes from. So doing that will result in you feeling empowered to go out there and take success on your own.
Okay.
So
I'm not saying I don't buy it.
Right.
I think those are really good examples, and that probably works. I just, like, for me personally, I don't know where my confidence comes from. I have no idea.
For you, it's arrogance.
That might be right. But it's weird because, like when we were kids, I wasn't that way.
Right.
You know, I was shy. I didn't, you know, except for like around our group of friends and stuff. And then somewhere in my early 20s, I don't know what happened.
Was there an experience that you had that just triggered it? Or?
I have no idea. Like, it just, like, if I fail at something, I don't care.
Right.
If I tell myself I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. and go fishing the next day, and then I wake up and I'm like, nope, I'm going back to bed. Like, I don't lose confidence in myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you know, whatever.
Right.
I just, like, personally, I just don't.
I mean,
I'm having a tough time relating. That's
if
all.
it's a decision where it's like, if you promise yourself this, but then you're also not in the right state of mind thinking about all the logistics. If you're like, I'm going to do this, but it's like, if you say, I'm going to run 10 miles, but you haven't ran in like 6 years, and you get up and you're like, oh, I can't do it. Like, that's not like grounds to be like, oh, I'm going to lose my confidence. It's like, well, you should probably start with like walking half a mile or something.
I mean, I get it.
You got to set like a realistic promise to yourself too, right? Like, I can't go promise to myself that I'm going to be a millionaire next month. You know what I mean? Like
that's not a realistic goal.
That's not a realistic thing, right? But what I can promise to myself is that I'm going to save X amount of dollars every day for the next month. Like you can do steps in the right direction.
Now that I think about it, like, so, like last, I don't remember what it was, February. I think it was February. I started building the new chicken coop.
Yeah.
Like, and I know I can do it. So I build this huge giant monstrosity. It's 8 by 10. It's 8 foot tall. It's huge.
Right.
I mean, I will say that when I complete big projects that I have no idea what I'm doing, I guess that probably helps my self-confidence.
It definitely gives you a set of satisfaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I can see that.
I think people
I can
like
see that part.
Just
like
compare.
once you get there, you know, setting self goals to stay there.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that makes a lot of sense.
I think people, they compare themselves. They see someone who's like successful and they're like, oh, they did that like in a month. But I just talked with a friend who just crossed the monetization threshold on YouTube. I asked him, how many videos do you have? He says probably 100.
Right.
You know, and so it's like, it's to a person who, like for me, I have maybe 15 or 20.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show that like, people don't see that, and people maybe they get discouraged because they look at someone like that and they don't see everything.
We had a whole episode we talked about that you know, we talked about keeping up with the Joneses, or especially when it relates to business, you see a business and they're just huge all of a sudden in advertising. Well, you didn't see the 10 years it took them to get there.
Yeah, you missed the come up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ironically, Joe Rogan had a guy on today that was talking about, and he got Joe Rogan talking about it, was talking about you're never actually in competition with somebody else. You're in competition with yourself to become better, and you're using somebody else to learn where you're at.
They're just a gauge for where you're at.
They're just a gauge for your own development against yourself. And so,
that's the game of golf, right?
Yeah.
So the game of golf is, you don't play the course. You don't play the guy you're playing with. You're playing yourself.
Yeah.
The whole time.
The entire
guys
time.
You're playing with is to judge how good you are on that course in comparison to regular guys or professionals in any given case on any given day.
Yeah.
That's what makes golf maybe the greatest sport of all time, because it doesn't pit you against an individual necessarily. It pits you against an individual on a course against you're fighting yourself the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I'll agree with you as long as we say golf might be the greatest individual sport, right? Not team sport.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it is literally you and yourself. Very few environmental factors that are going to affect you that aren't going to affect anybody else.
Yeah.
Right? Like, let's say auto racing, right? So many other factors at play.
Yeah.
It's not you. Like, literally, your teammate could crash into you, right?
Yeah.
There's your teammate or the guy you're teeing off with isn't going to come hacking at your knees with their driver.
Yeah,
you know, while you're teeing off, right?
Yeah,
they're not going to take you out at the number one tee box.
Did not make you shank that ball
right
3 fairways over,
unless you follow Country Club Adjacent, and those guys absolutely make you shank balls. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, look those guys up. It's some of the funniest shit you've ever seen. But Yeah. Golf is a great sport for man against himself, right?
Yeah.
And ultimately,
That's really what life is.
right. Well, and that's
Like,
what business is too, right?
You come into the world alone and you leave alone.
Yeah.
There could be people next to you, but you're alone. I mean, it's really
Well, that's
makes it so intriguing.
That's totally
Makes
what
life
business
intriguing.
is. I'm not in competition with the other plumbing companies in town. I'm in competition with myself. Like, I'm in competition with myself for how smart I can manage our money, for how smart I can select the right vendors, for how well I can select people that are on our team, for how well I can inspire those people to do great things, right?
How well
Like-
you can keep the government from pulling down your pants as you're trying to move forward. That's a whole nother set of skills.
How many customers can I grab each day? Not physically grab. I mean, like, actually get to call us, right? Maybe. And this is why you don't work for us.
Oh, please. I run your guys in the dirt.
So, like, ultimately, business is a competition of yourself, right? It is literally how well can you do? And to Joe Rogan's credit, the other guys are just a metric for how well you're performing, right? Some of those guys have been in business longer, so you can kind of add that layer into it as well. Some of those other guys might have financial backing, so you can add that layer into it.
Mom may be giving him a $40,000 a year stipend because they're rich.
Who knows?
Yeah, you never know.
But those things all fall into play. But ultimately, it's still business is about you as an individual.
Well said.
So, topic number 2 for this evening.
What are we talking about?
I am looking it up right now because I wrote it down.
Oh, Austin's going to chime in. Our producer's going to chime in with
Gonna
topic
chime in.
number 2.
Do you have core values?
Do you have
dun.
core
First
values?
off, everyone has core values.
I'm not so sure.
Oh, they do, but they may be really fucked up, but they have core values.
I
Like,
think-
if you ask an individual, like if I come to Mitch and I say, Mitch, what are your 5 core values? You may come up with 3, you may come up with 6, you may come up with 10. You know what I mean? Like, core values,
Yeah.
and by core value, I mean something that you value as to how you judge yourself.
Yeah. Well,
You know what I mean?
a core value is what you determine or what you use to determine your mode of operation. How do you operate through life? You operate so if you're constantly at the bars getting drunk and chasing pussy,
That's
well,
your
then
core value.
Your core value might be fun, entertainment, memorable.
Mitch Smedley, 18
YOLO.
to 23.
I think I
Maybe.
hear it. I think
Oh,
it's
no. Hey, Mitch, where you going tonight? I'm going to Fox and Hound. Hey, Mitch, where you going? We're going to go patio quiz. Hey, Mitch, where you going tonight? We're going to go Clancy's.
I think a big part of this too is like reflection, because I did this for the longest time. There are so many people that they wake up, they eat breakfast, they go to work, they come back, they watch a movie, they dinner. There's no like self-reflection of like, how am I doing? How do I feel? Like, what am I doing? Like
Yeah.
tomorrow that's gonna.
That's not a...
It's just they're almost kind of just go through the motions of the day, and then the next thing you know, they're like in bed, and it's like, okay.
I would say they
tomorrow.
just don't have core values.
That's an absence of core values, right?
Yeah.
They don't have anything that's driving them or determining their course on life.
I mean, core values can be anything. They can be, someone prides themselves on how they treat elderly people,
Yeah.
how they interact with everyone around them, no matter who they are.
Yeah.
It could be, their core value is, I am a member of my church and our church is a member of our community. That would be like their core value.
Right. So,
But we're trying to talk about business.
Yeah,
How
so-
do core values translate into business, and what core values should you have set up for your business?
Yeah.
I mean, do you have lots of guys have a handbook, and, big companies, and in that handbook, it will literally list, these are our 6 core values.
Yeah.
This is what we value most and want to see out of our employees.
yeah, usually within about 4 to 7. 7's probably a little too many. 4 to 5, 4 to 6.
Kind of like
Core
a
values.
mission statement-ish.
You
style.
can pretty much blanket the general, like they're kind of like guide stones for your company, right? They're gonna guide every decision you make in your company. If you're a newer business owner and you've got guys that are working for you, I strongly suggest that you identify what your core values are and that you seek the buy-in from your guys on those core values, right? If you're one of the listeners to the show who hasn't yet started their business, don't think you have to have core values in place before you pull the trigger. You're probably thinking right now to yourself, like, well, one of my core values is quality because I always do badass work. Or, one of my core values is timeliness because I'm never late, or, whatever. Like, you have things that you pride yourself on.
Yeah.
And chances are you're using those to help motivate you to start your company. So keep those in the back of your head. But at the moment your company gets big enough to where you're going to bring on team members and everything else, it is a really, really good idea to establish the core values of the company and make sure that all of your team members are on board with those. And then you actually use those to hire all future team members. They help you manage people. If one of your core values is excellence and you've got somebody who's doing something that's less than excellent, you can use that value to coach them up, right? If one of your values is honesty and you have a guy that's not being honest, well, guess what? You can use those core values to coach him up, right? And ultimately, if you've got people on your team that aren't falling in line with those core values, either you make the decision or they'll make the decision. They won't be there much longer, right? One or the other. So
well, and the other guys that work there or gals that work there, if everyone else has bought in and then they see one employee that's not acting in accordance with the way the company is run or needs to be run,
right?
And all it does is it makes you as a business owner look bad and spineless because you're not going to that employee and saying, hey, now you're looking bad in front of all the employees.
Right. So core values, if you are a business owner that has employees, core values help you become a better leader. It's almost like a cheat code, right? If you establish 5 or 6 good core values and you simply use those for every decision you have to make throughout the day, it makes your decision-making process really easy, right? It clears the water on, well, last time I gave this guy a little bit of slack because of this. Well, do you give him slack or do you not? I don't know. What are your values? What do they say, right? And you go that route with it. So when I started our company, I had kind of an idea of what I wanted our values to be. However, I wanted the company to kind of form itself a little bit before I really put our values in place. And then here just 4 or 5 weeks ago, I established what our core values are, and I put those in place. And we had a meeting with our whole team just to go over what the core values are for the company. And now we use those values for everything. We use them for every decision we make. We use them for every conversation we have. They literally guide the company. And so that's part of why I waited, is because I wanted to kind of see where I wanted the company to go. And then I built values around the destination goal I had for the company, right? But that helps. It helps bring a team together. Without values and without a common goal, it's very difficult to get your entire team kind of marching in the same direction.
Yeah, you have to create unity.
Yeah.
And core values create unity. They bring everybody together. And if there are outliers, like I said before, they'll come to the surface.
Yeah.
If you have somebody that is a liar, and I don't mean just a liar to you, but I mean a liar to customers, or to
themselves,
other employees, or it will come to the surface and it will be a problem, and it will almost act like a natural filter for you to weed out the bad seeds. Yeah. Especially once you get, and I'm not talking necessarily 1, 2, 3, 4, but when you start getting up there and you start having 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, and you don't have the real personal relationship that like you do now, like you don't have enough guys, you know them really well. When you have 15 and then there's maybe one or two managers, and then you're at the top. You don't have that personal relationship,
Yep.
so it's hard for you to find problems. But when you have core values and everyone has to be on those core values, it's almost like that stuff just comes to you.
Yeah.
Like you see this, like you have a good employee come to you and say, hey man, look, we're supposed to be doing this, this, and this, and I don't want to be a rat, but
Yeah.
I mean, you got this is happening and this is happening and this. I mean, it makes it a lot easier for you to manage people
Yeah.
when you all are moving to the same goal, and core values help you establish what that goal is.
Yeah. If you have managers, if your company is large enough that you have managers managing people and you don't have core values in place, your managers will be more thankful for you instilling core values than anybody else, because right now your managers are probably a little aimless with how they operate,
Well, they
right?
have six. Say a manager has 6 guys, and all 6 guys have 5 different core values, and he's trying to navigate each person individually instead of as a whole.
Yeah.
It's a giant train wreck.
That's tough,
Okay,
right? That's real tough.
It's a train wreck.
Yeah. That's so core values help provide clarity all the way across the organization. Here's the cool part with them too. You can even use them for selecting your customers, right? Like if you can use them, like we all get into business. When you're in business, we all get into positions where we have to fire customers. We have to actually tell customers, please don't call us again. We're not the best company for you.
Yeah.
I've had to do it.
I can't handle your crazy ass anymore.
Yep.
Please stop calling me.
So one of the listeners to this show, his name's Jeremy. He's followed the show since the beginning. He's got my phone number, right? We're close enough to
you
where
don't ever give out mine, do you? Don't give out my phone number.
Only to the people who aren't ever going to make it in business that I'm going to. I tell
I
them.
really don't want to talk to those people.
I tell them you work nights, so if you could call at 3 a.m., that would be great.
That'd be perfect. He's
Yeah.
on break from 3 to 3:40.
So Jeremy calls me, or he sent me a message yesterday, and he said, "Hey, I had a really tough day. Do you have time for a phone call?" And I had a couple extra minutes, and so I called him up, and he's new into business. He started his business using a lot of what we talk about on the show, and he's run into his first problematic customer. Right? We all have the first one.
Yeah.
He's finally run into it. I say finally, like he ran into his first pretty quick, right? And you don't get to pick this. This isn't something like we got freaking lucky that we ran so long without running into a problematic customer. He ran into one within a couple of months.
Not a real problem, like a serious problem.
Yeah, no, like when I say problematic, I mean customer that's threatening the BBB.
Yeah.
Right. And so
you have to be a member for anyone to care that you call the BBB.
Well, and the BBB is kind of a sham now anyway, right?
Yeah. Call them.
Yeah.
You know what? Give them my phone number.
Yeah.
Call him up.
So Jeremy gives me the rundown on everything. Jeremy did everything textbook. He provided the customer a price for the defined amount of work before the work was done. He showed up the next business day on time. He did the work. He did exactly as much work as he said he was going to charge, or said he was going to do. He charged the customer exactly what he said he was going to charge. And now the customer's mad because the customer had convinced themselves that the price Jeremy gave him was like worst case scenario, right? And so we talked about it like on the emotional side of things. It sucks to have a customer tell you that they don't think you were worth that much and all that stuff. But
that stuff doesn't even faze me.
You just gotta get over that. But that's where having core values in your company really, really helps, right? Now Jeremy's still a company of one, so he doesn't have I'm not saying his fault is missing core values. It definitely wasn't. I didn't even mention core values last night on the phone with him. But what we did talk about was like some of the parameters for how he's doing business. And he's doing everything right. He came in with the best price. He was on time. He had the best quality. He flat kicked.
He just had a crazy customer.
He just had a crazy customer, right?
He just had a piece of shit customer.
And so I told him, like, this is by rights. Everything about this customer is somebody that you should fire. And I said, they've already paid you, but now they're griping about the price. So you could just stick to your guns, right?
That's what I'd do.
Or I said, here's another way you could handle it. You could offer them $100 or a $200 or a $300 refund and tell them that this refund comes under the pretense that you'll never call us again.
Yeah.
You're firing, you're giving them a small refund, you're meeting them in the middle on what they're asking for, and you're firing them at the same time.
Yeah.
So chances are they're never going to call him again anyway. I totally get that.
Yeah. I stick to my guns.
Right.
Like, that's just personal. Personally, I stick to my guns. I say, you call whoever you think you have to call.
Right.
I mean, I know right's on my side,
Yeah.
and we'll just see what happens.
So, but the moment the contractor tells the customer, I don't think you should ever call me again, it's freaking eye-opening, because the customers that are in that position, the customers that are ballsy enough to gripe about the fact that you charged what you said you were going to charge, those customers are so out of touch with reality that they are just blindsided whenever a company says, don't call us again. We don't want your business, right? But that's noble. That's a company that knows exactly who they want for a customer, and that's not it.
And they know exactly who they are.
Yes, and they know their
what I mean?
worth.
They're not trying to fish around.
Right.
And a lot of guys, I was that way when I first started out. I mean, I'm just trying to navigate, where I am. Where am I in the group of HVAC contractors? Like,
Yep.
what am I doing? How am I going to get there? What am I charging?
Yep.
I'm sure Jeremy's dealing with the same thing.
Well, and
know?
he's a little like he flat out said, he's like, I'm not known for being cool under pressure. I'm a little hot headed, and so I'm just trying to make sure that I don't go.
Yeah, gotta learn that patience.
And so in that case, I told him, like, there's two hats you have to wear in this position. One is your awesome technician hat, right? The hat that you provide awesome service, you really clean work, everything is I's dotted and T's crossed and all that stuff. But in this case here, you have to take that technician hat off, because that has all the pride and all the work you just did. You have to take that hat off, and you have to go put your completely out of touch manager hat on.
Yeah, like you haven't seen the work, you don't know what was said.
Right.
You have to
remove yourself from the situation and look at it objectively and say, like, what is the best outcome for this? And the best outcome is either you tell the customer tough shit and you keep all the money, or you literally give the customer a couple $100 back under the pretense that you never call me again.
Yeah.
So I've even done this once. This was an extenuating circumstance. I wrote up a small agreement and I made the customer sign it. This was when I was a manager at a different company, but I gave them a refund. But in the agreement that they signed, they agreed that they would never call our phone number ever again. They would never say any disparaging remarks about our company ever again. And they would, that all warranty on any work we did was null and void.
Perfect.
And so basically I'm getting, like, part of what you're paying for is warranty. So if I'm giving you money back, I'm sure as heck not going to come back in a year whenever you're complaining about something, right? So
yeah.
So we basically locked ourselves in to where this customer, because they were becoming almost to the point of harassing us, calling every day and making up shit just to get us out there. And so this was over a plumbing repair that was about like $8,000, and so I gave them like $500 back. Right. And there's not anybody out there who wouldn't bid a job for $8,000 and then take $75 for it. Like, if you had to. Right.
No.
So I voluntarily gave them $500 back. And I said, this $500 comes with these three conditions. You never call us again. You never say anything bad about us. Like, I can't control if they say anything bad about us verbally, but I have their written agreement to where if they give us a bad review or they say anything bad online,
you can sue them for defamation if you want.
And they're in violation of the contract we just signed, right?
So they at least owe you $500.
And they can't call me back for warranty.
I'll spend $3,500 to get that $500, like, just out of spite. Like, I'm just like, ugh.
So core values help you in all aspects. They help you define who your company's going to be. They help you define how you manage your people. They help your managers define how they manage your people. And they help you define what customers you want and what customers you don't. So keep core values in mind. If you're an existing company with employees, you need to get some core values in place. Your employees will appreciate it. I can promise you that.
And if you have to put them on a sign and put it up in the shop, do it.
Yeah.
Like, if you need that daily reminder, if they need that daily reminder, do it.
Yeah.
It costs $50.
Yeah.
It's no big deal.
Right.
Just stick to it. If you're going to do it, you have to stick to it.
Yeah.
No wishy-washy.
All right.
Mitchy.
Third and final topic
on that. Also, I wanted to say, too, something that I learned also is, like, you're a technician, but to also operate as a manager and like the visionary entrepreneur. And I think where I struggle with is just being the technician, like the being good at the camera part. That when it came to like managing money, business stuff. So a little bit, as I call it, you're saying too, is like being able. It's hard for me to step away and almost kind of be my own manager.
Yeah.
Or visionary. So
yeah,
just my
that just
2
takes,
cents.
that's personal growth too.
Well, and some of that is there are some people out there that are not yet. I say not yet because they're not forever not cut out for business ownership. There are some people out there that are not yet cut out for business ownership. You may be the best pizza maker in town. You may make the best fucking pizzas ever. The ingredients you put on them, the texture, the way that you handle the crust, like everything is just awesome, right? However, if you don't know the first thing about running a business and the first thing about customers and how to acquire a customer and how to develop a following and how to sign a lease agreement and all of those things,
it doesn't help.
You might not be cut out for owning a pizza parlor.
Yeah, didn't the barbecue joint just down the street go out of business? For that exact same thing?
No, so that actually there's a whole lot. I'm friends with the owner.
I know you are, but
he's got a whole lot going on there.
Do you know why people didn't go into that restaurant?
They were busy all the time.
Shitty service, shitty sides.
They were busy all the time.
No, they weren't. Their food sucked.
Yeah,
Their meats were the best.
Yeah.
Everything else about them sucked.
So they didn't go out of business because of that. They chose to close their doors, and I think it has more to do with their business partnership stuff than everything else.
Well, that's still part of it.
So, I think what it means, like, he's choosing other business ventures in the barbecue arena, and he had to get out of his partnerships to do so. Is what I expect to be happening.
Mm-hmm.
So,
gotcha. So
like you've never had a friend lie to you before.
Not him.
Mitch loves plowboys. You got to be careful.
Yeah,
it's
I'll knock on my Plowboys barbecue.
It's garbage.
Okay, the third topic is NFL Week 1.
Week number 1 in the NFL. As we are recording this show, Monday Night Football was last night.
Yeah, Monday night was last night.
So Monday night.
Week 1 wrapped up.
Week 1 wrapped up last night.
I would like to say, if we're going to talk about football, before I forget, so the Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill. Okay, and everyone said...
I am tired of the Tyreek.
I'm going to make this real quick. They traded Tyreek Hill, and everyone in the national media was like, oh, man, what's Patrick Mahomes going to... What are they going to do? Oh, man, he's awesome. Well, first off, they didn't trade him because they wanted to get rid of him. They traded him because they got a ton of picks.
It was a business decision.
To work for the future.
Yeah.
Okay. Second off, Patrick Mahomes hung 5 touchdowns and 350 on the Arizona Cardinals.
Right.
That was like the biggest FU to the rest of the league, I feel like.
Well, think of this is
like he was counting them. Like when you get 4, he holds up 4 fingers. Like that's number 4. I mean, the guys... I don't understand why people hate teams in the Midwest if they're on the coast so much.
Yeah.
They've just been getting hated on, and they hung one on them yesterday.
Well, I got some opinions here. Austin, you were going to say something?
I was going to say, it's the thing is people get surprised by things that happen every year in the NFL. Is like, oh, someone got traded. That's how the NFL has worked for over half a decade.
Yeah. Well, this year was like some of the biggest trades.
There were some big moves.
So Russell Wilson went to Denver.
Right?
First off, he's washed up anyway.
Yeah.
I can't believe they gave up so many picks, but that goes to my theory that the Donkeys are the worst franchise in the NFL right now.
They definitely have some management problems.
They're the bottom 5 at least. So I love watching them lose anyway, so that's okay.
I refused to post anything about the whole Tyreek Hill thing and all that shit because that's literally living in the past.
We talked about it on the show before.
I know. But that's literally living in the past. If you can't go into it with the mindset of oh, what are we going to do, right? The guy's got fucking weapons all over the place. So,
Tom Brady also had wide receivers traded all the time, and guess what? It didn't really matter, did it?
Right.
Sometimes
Still
you
wins.
can get a better team. People are like, oh, this is so great, it works, but just there's a chance it could be better.
Right.
Right. So it's
So outside of that,
what else happened? So I will say that in that I did watch part of that game last night, the Seahawks and Broncos.
Right.
When Geno, I didn't realize he was going to be the starter in Seattle.
Right.
He hadn't started a game in 8 years.
Right.
He came out there and was throwing rockets.
Yeah.
Throwing ropes, dude.
He's got inspiration,
he
man.
was
He's
kicking their ass.
He's on a freaking mission,
I was
right?
Like, oh my God.
So imagine
He
this.
played great.
Imagine you're the Broncos. It's 4th and 5.
You talking about at the end of the game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
when
they kicked that 64-yarder?
You got 101 left on the clock. It's 4th and 5, and you waste 4, and you have 3 timeouts.
Yeah. Yeah.
You waste 40 seconds getting ready for a play.
Trying to decide what they're doing.
And then you decide to kick a 64-year-old field goal on 4th and 5.
In Seattle.
Instead,
where the air is dense.
Instead of putting a little bit of faith in your $256 million quarterback.
Yeah. When we talk about bad management decisions on this show, like, oh, man, I screwed up as an owner, I screwed up as a manager, that's a bad management decision.
That is fucking horrible. I mean, abso-fucking-lutely horrible.
It was pretty bad.
Like,
it was pretty bad.
You got 3 timeouts.
Yeah.
You could try to draw them off sides. Like, there's 1,000 things you could do.
That goes to my point of they're the donkeys.
It's bad,
I mean,
right?
It all starts at the top, man, and it's just working its way down.
Quarterback absolutely is not making the team there, right? It takes a team plus a quarterback.
Yeah.
And everyone thought that, Russell Wilson goes to the Broncos, we're okay.
Yeah, it was awful. It was awful. Everyone keeps saying the AFC West is the best division in football. Like, I mean, the Raiders got their ass stomped by the Chargers. I mean, Denver looks like a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
I mean, is it the best? No. So, it's the Chiefs and the Chargers, and then there's 2 other teams that we let play with us.
Then you got the AFC South.
Yeah.
Not a single team in the AFC South won a game, and 2 of them played each other.
Yeah, that tie was brutal.
I mean, like,
I love how there were almost 2 ties yesterday.
I know. Real close.
Yeah.
So we didn't actually get to see the second of the 2 near ties.
The Pittsburgh, the Bungles.
Because they had to leave that game to show the Chiefs.
Yeah, I was watching that game. Can you believe how bad the Bengals played? So everyone said last year, so it should have been either the Rams in the Super Bowl and the Bills, or the Rams and the Chiefs.
Right.
And somehow the Bengals almost lost their first playoff game, their wild card, I think it was a wild card game, to the Raiders. They barely skated by there. And somehow they got on a magical run, which happens.
It happens.
And then got destroyed in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And now everyone is like, oh, the Bengals are the second coming. And they lost to maybe one of the bottom 8 teams.
Right.
I mean, Pittsburgh, Mitch Trubisky, he couldn't play in Chicago, and he's not going to be able to play there.
No.
They had 5 turnovers, and they couldn't score the ball.
Yeah.
And they still only put up 20.
Yeah,
it's just drives me crazy.
There was a whole lot of movement in the AFC. The AFC looks like it's really promising, right? Here's another thing that I'm just blown away with. And I think it's because everyone's hating on the top guy.
Well, that's everything. Everyone hates the top dog.
After week 1, they've ranked all the QBs.
Oh, did you see that?
Post week 1.
Did you see Pro Football Focus's rankings?
So they're ranking Mahomes number 8.
Yeah.
Right? Mahomes was the only QB in the NFL to score on their first 2 drives of the game. To throw a touchdown on their first 2 drives of the game. The only QB in the NFL.
Yeah.
He threw 5 touchdowns to 4 different receivers.
Yeah.
6 for the game.
Yeah.
One was a rushing touchdown. How is that guy?
I actually heard it's
number 8.
Funny you bring that up. So I heard an interview with one of the Pro Football Focus guys.
Right.
And he basically said, I don't rank them. I don't know how that happens. He said, but in our dynamic of how they rank like individual throws and individual plays and all this stuff, like they had one last year that literally Patrick Mahomes moves his eyes. You can see him that, they slow everything down. You can see him move his eyes from the left side of the field to the right side of the field. And you can see all the defenders take 2 or 3 steps that way.
Yep.
And then he throws to Travis Kelce, who is on the left side of the field. And it doesn't count as a great throw because he's wide open. Well, he's wide open because Patrick moved the defense with his eyes. And that doesn't translate to the Pro Football Focus ranking system.
Right. He's outsmarting everything that they've used to rank QBs in the past,
Yeah.
right? The shovel pass for a touchdown. Like, I mean, a lot of it has to go to the play creativity and everything else, but the guy's on fire, right? And then,
Yeah.
and then you
It's
got
just brutal.
And then you got Tom Brady, who I know, again, everyone likes to hate on the top guy, right?
I'm sticking with my guns. I said this 10 years ago. I think he sold his soul to the devil, and I'm sticking to. He's 40. He's plus 45.
He's the
years old.
oldest QB to ever start in
He's
the
the
NFL.
oldest player. Oh no, once his name was a kicker, I think was
Yeah.
a little bit older.
Yeah, he's not the oldest player
I can't
yet.
remember. He's really close.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, he sold his soul to the devil. Now listen, this is an op-ed here. I have no facts to back this up whatsoever, but I think he sold his soul to the devil. I mean, the guy's playing like he's 30 years old.
yeah.
He's throwing dimes.
He's
I mean,
and ropes.
He's killing everybody.
He is. Yeah,
It's so far past the point of me hating his guts that I'm starting to envy the guy. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
So
what
when-
else am I supposed to do at this
When
point?
he was with the Patriots, I didn't like him, and part of that may have been because the Patriots knocked the Chiefs out on the
All the
championship, and all that kind of
that was
stuff.
before he had Mahomes.
But-
oh no, they did. Even with the second year of Mahomes.
The moment, the very moment where I started becoming a massive Tom Brady fan, and this turned around very quickly, was to hear about the locker room conversation that happened after Brady took out Mahomes in the championship game. Brady goes into the locker room and talks to Mahomes and basically tells Mahomes, like, this one just fell this way. You're freaking amazing. Stick to the process, and you're going to do amazing things. And, like, all of the hatred that you ever had for Brady after that kind of went
Oh
away.
no, I still hated the guy after that.
Yeah,
like,
I
it's
didn't.
just now starting to turn.
Yeah, I didn't.
I think I still personally hate him, but it's like I hate him so much that I have to.
And for the ability to go to the Bucs and win it, like,
Well, only two quarterbacks have gone to another team and won a Super Bowl, and it's Peyton Manning and Tom Brady.
yeah,
That's it.
that's amazing,
That's it.
right?
Did you see? Speaking of all that, did you see the Patriots get the shit kicked out of them by Miami?
Oh, absolutely.
Love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
I hate I don't want to say I hate. As much as I want to see, like, I want to see Tyreek flounder, right? So
Oh no, I want to see Tyreek be great, and I want to see Bill Belichick cry.
I don't
That's what I want to see happen.
like Tyreek Hill's personality. This is why I didn't post shit about Tyreek Hill at all.
I like him.
Like, you see all these people.
I love the guy.
You see all these people that were super quiet for so long, and then all of a sudden the Chiefs do well, and they're like, Tyreek, what? We don't need him. But the whole time before that, they were all quiet because they were thinking in their own mind, like, shit, I hope we don't need Tyreek. Well,
Of course, everyone was thinking that.
and so then they jump on the bandwagon, right? I haven't liked the guy for a long freaking time. You follow him on social media and you see him off the field. Like, there's a reason the Chiefs don't let him do interviews. The guy's just freaking trash. He's disrespectful. He's not a team player. He's just trash. And so, like, I was actually, whenever I heard he got traded, I'm like, oh, this is fucking cool. Like, our team just got leveled up.
Well, I thought it was cool because we got 87 picks.
Well, yeah.
And they burned a ton of them up. Did you see how fast the defense was?
Yeah.
They used all those picks basically on defense. That's
Yeah.
how they did that.
Yeah. Yeah, we leveled up in the culture department by getting Tyreek Hill off the team. So he just did not jive with the Chiefs culture at all. I don't think the Chiefs are going to miss him one bit.
They won't because they have Mahomes. And they brought in some great wide receivers.
Yeah.
So, moving on, did you see Minnesota and Green Bay?
No.
So Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams got traded to the Raiders.
Right.
And now they have no wide receivers up there, and they got their asses kicked by Minnesota.
Yep.
And Minnesota looks like they're on fire. They're going to be great. Justin Jefferson had like 184 yards.
But I think Aaron Rodgers ranked
Receiving.
over Mahomes on that whole QB rating bullshit.
I don't think so.
Didn't?
I don't think so. Not at PFF.
Yeah. I was looking at the top 8, and I'm like, how in the fuck is Mahomes number 8?
I don't know how many times we have to, like, say to Austin, when we bring up questions, you have to look up on the Google
Look 'em up.
machine. And I look over, and he's talking to his wife, like, just not even listening to the show. I'm not sure why he's getting paid. Like, I can hit record on the soundboard if you want. We just, boop, boop. Yeah, busted.
I'll look it up. How about that?
Busted.
Oh boy. There we go.
Just type in Pro Football Focus QB rating week 1, 2022. It'll come right up.
PFF QB rankings week 1. Here we are. Josh Allen, Geno Smith, Kirk
Cousins plays for Minnesota.
Whoa, no, this isn't right. Because Mahomes isn't even on there. Oh, yeah, he's way down. Oh, shit.
Yeah, he was way down there. He was like 10. 13?
He's under Joe Flacco, Jalen Hurts, Daniel Jones.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, oh my gosh.
Let me see. You're not looking at the wrong list. I don't think you're on the right list.
Player grades. PFF analyzes every player from every game in the... Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they only rank 1, 2, and 3, and then just have everybody else. But like,
then it must. They do rank them.
They've got Mahomes under Tua.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. It's garbage.
That's bad.
Anyways, Aaron did not play good either.
No.
That list
it's going to be an interesting football season.
That list is kind of like, it carries as much weight as when people try to say who's ahead in the polls with 3 months out from the election.
Right.
Yeah, it looks like
we only
Pete
asked
Buttigieg.
We only asked people that had voted or registered to vote Republican, and then we took the poll. What?
Yeah, they're trying to will it into existence, right?
Yeah,
we say Mahomes is number 8, so hopefully we can knock him down a peg or two.
Yeah. So people don't like people hate Kansas City.
I don't know if the NFL wants another dynasty or not.
It's bad for the NFL. Well, I shouldn't say that. So whether your team is in, so if there's a dynasty, everyone else in the league is watching to root against you.
Yeah.
In the Super Bowl. So I think your ratings can be up based on that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like there for a long time, it was like, who do you want to win the Super Bowl? Not the Patriots. You know what I mean?
Like last year when we played the Bengals, there was a poll. They do a poll for every game, especially in the playoffs. Who do you want to see win? And America was like 80% on the Bengals because they were just tired of seeing us kick everyone's ass.
Right.
Get used to it, people.
Yeah.
It's coming. We don't have a lot of listeners here in Kansas City, so everyone right now is like, these fucking homers in Kansas.
No, it's not. I mean, it's
our time, people. It's our time.
It's just looking at the facts and saying, there's a lot falling our way.
No,
I don't want to say falling.
I'm not going to say that.
There's a lot heading our way.
That's the second closest I've come to punching you in the face on the show. Falling our way.
There's a lot heading our way. Here's the cool thing. I'm super stoked about this.
4 championship games in a row.
Never before.
You mean
it's just falling.
We're in the middle of it? We're right in the middle?
I went to a lot of games last year, and that was in prep for this year. We got some season tickets this year to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So last year we went and we purposely got seats all over the stadium so we could decide kind of where we wanted to sit.
Yeah.
So scored some great seats.
Front row, upper deck are the best seats in the house.
Well, you can't get, so we couldn't get front row.
No one gives those up because they know they're like, okay, yeah, you can see.
We got row 5, upper deck, row 5.
Yeah.
So
those are still good seats.
Close enough for front row, but those
are great.
We got pretty awesome seats, so we're pretty stoked about it.
50-yard line, front row, upper deck.
Thursday of this week. So by the time this podcast airs, the Thursday night game will have already happened.
Oh yeah, I played Chargers this week. I hate Thursday night games. I'm so tired.
Got the whole family up. We're all gonna go. I got 4 season tickets. The main reason my younger son loves going, and then I got 2 for bringing guests. Right. Who knows? Might even invite you.
I didn't get invited last year at all. I didn't even get invited to a preseason game this year.
The preseason games, we were filled up.
Man.
I've been to one
with
preseason game
guests.
4 or 5 years ago.
I love it.
No, we literally got them so we could take all kinds of people. So I'm excited for what this year may hold. So
I watch games.
We got
usually when it starts getting cooler out and I can't do as much outside on Sundays.
Yeah.
There are some Sundays I watch the noon game, the 3:00 game, Sunday Night Football, and then I'll watch Monday Night Football when it comes on Monday.
So not all cities tailgate like Kansas City does. Like, it's going to a game in Kansas City is literally an 8-hour event.
Oh yeah, it's an all-dayer.
You've got 4 hours of tailgating,
Yeah,
and then you got a 3-hour game.
yeah.
And then you have an hour waiting in traffic to get out of the stadium. But
I nap. I usually try not to drive, and then I nap.
So
I'm trying to leave.
I pulled a fast one this year. We have the all-electric Ford Transit. Arrowhead Stadium has 10 EV parking spots on the very front row of the stadium. So I got the cheap parking pass, the red pass, right? But the EV parking spots on that front row,
Are they for anybody?
for anybody, first come, first serve. So as long as you get there when the gates open.
So are you gonna have to like stop at every person and say it's an EV
Yeah.
to get through there?
Yeah, literally, I just tell the people this is an EV, and they direct me right up to the front row.
Really?
And so the EV parking spaces
There's
are
how many
also
are there?
there's only 10.
With all the rich people that own Teslas in this town,
They show up late.
Oh.
They don't get there when the
They
gates
don't
open.
tailgate.
Yeah. So
you're like first in line.
I'm like
tailgating.
first in line. I get there. I get my front row parking spot, and the EV parking spots are in the platinum lot that's where all the action happens
Yeah.
at Arrowhead too. Like for the tailgating, the Rumble drum band they literally parade by our tailgate twice before every game. You'll see all of the mega fans, the super fans. You'll see
Those people are psychotic.
You'll see Casey Wolf. You'll see all the cheerleaders. Last year, I got to hang out with Nick Lowry for a while.
Nick Lowry's awesome.
So, like, you see
Does he still have the stash?
He's still got the stash, and he's still rocking the massive ring. So,
Of course he is.
yeah, like it's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fun time. It's a whole lot of fun. So
Yeah, maybe I'll
we're
get to
excited
go.
for this
Maybe
year.
I'll get to go one game.
You'll get to
of these
go. I
days.
promise you.
I don't
You're
like-
not in the
to
all
be
kinds
honest-
of people
To be
category.
honest, I don't really like going to the
So
games
last night,
because the beers are expensive. I got to pee every 5 minutes. It's
Yeah.
hard to see. You can't see replays. You just have to go knowing I'm
Yeah,
going
it's-
for the party,
dude, I
not
tell
to
ya,
watch the game.
it's hard to-
Like, you just have to know that's what you're going
it's
for.
a different environment to watch it without getting all the stats and without getting
yeah,
the
it's tough.
replays and without getting all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's different.
It's hard to watch.
So last night, so both my boys are going to this home opener. I assumed my wife was, and so I'm telling her like last night. I'm like, hey, I don't know what we're gonna like. I was asking her about like questions for logistics about when we're leaving to go to the game, and she's like, oh, I'm going, and I'm like. Well, I thought you were because both boys were going, but if you're not, I guarantee you I've got somebody to take the ticket.
Yeah.
And she's like, I think I'll go. It's warm. I'll go to one. Like, she hates the cold weather.
Yeah, you
hates
go-
it. So she'll go to the early ones.
The best games are like October games, November games,
Yeah.
early November games.
I
Man,
don't-
it's flannel weather. It's beer drinking weather.
Dude, I just hit a freaking gold mine at the thrift store.
I saw.
Tony Gonzalez jersey.
Yeah. I sold my Tony
Lake
jersey.
Dawson jersey.
Lenny Dawson, you idiot.
No, Lake Dawson.
Who's Lake Dawson?
He's a wide receiver.
Never heard of him.
Yeah.
What's his number?
80? 80.
Never heard of him. Or don't remember. It's probably more like don't remember.
These are retro jerseys. Tony Gonzalez jersey. And
You said that one first. You got a Derek Thomas jersey. too.
Derek Thomas.
I can't believe that was at the Goodwill.
Fucking A. And the creme de la creme, a Chiefs starter pullover. I got a fucking starter jacket.
Do you remember in like 1988 when that was like
This one's probably like
95?
Looking at the writing on it, it's probably early 90s starter jacket.
They're like $100 back then.
I paid $69 for it at the
Jesus.
thrift store.
It held its value. It held its value.
But it's freaking awesome.
That's funny. Dude.
My dad has a Chiefs starter jacket, so I can't wait to take
He
him to
still
a game.
wears it.
Yeah, I can't wait to take him to a game. I took him to a game last year.
Did he wear it?
And he pulled a ticket stub out of the pocket from the last time he went to a game. It was from like 2002.
Wow.
It was like a Monday night Raiders
When they
game.
sucked.
Yeah. So I can't
funny.
wait to go matchy with him in the starter jackets. So, all right, this show's running long. We better cap it.
Cabin Mitch.
So,
Get out of here.
guys, if you like the show, if it brought you value, if it's going to help your business, do us a favor and help share the show with somebody else who might also be wanting to start their own company, or share it with your buddy who doesn't want to start his own company but just wants to listen to something cool about business-related stuff. So if you have any questions you want to submit to us about things that you're running through, let us know. we can answer those if you just send an email to askmitch@mitchsmedley.com. We'll email back to you all the answers we have. If your questions are good enough, we might even make a show about them. So until next time, guys, we will see you later.
Thanks, peeps.
Peace.